Well, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Hope everyone's having a lovely day and that you had a marvelous weekend as well. We've got tons of news to go over, plenty of stuff having to deal with the situation America and the world is now facing. But first off, I want to announce the two winners of the 200,000 subscriber contest. First of all, the first winner is going to be Berserker Bear. Berserker Bear, send me an email at redpill78@protonmail.com. And the second winner is Matcha Latte. Both of you guys, please send me an email, redpill78@protonmail.com, and I will get you guys your $200 gift cards. Now, first off, we're going to be going over a bit of comms that we've received from the U.S. Army. The soldiers in Europe have sent us a message, and I think you're going to want to follow this one. Then we're going to talk about the latest state to go on lockdown. As of midnight tonight, that will be Michigan. Then we're going to talk about Harvey W. He has become the latest celebrity to become infected with the you-know-what. And we've got some funny stuff from Methods. We've also got some news on Schumer and Pelosi, what they're trying to do to stop Americans from getting the help they need. Also, Joe Biden has finally returned from his slumber, and he is worse for wear. We've also got some information on Dr. Fauci. He is a hot-button topic right now. And finally, it looks like we've got an interesting article from the Washington Post. It looks like they might be calling for a debt jubilee. Pretty interesting stuff. So please, everybody, do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. A military source has exposed a shocking truth about CV-19 and wants to warn people of the number one thing they must do before it's too late. The question is, what are you going to do if it reaches your doorstep? Will you have the knowledge you need to be a hero for your family, or will you panic? Well, one thing you can do is head over to www.studythevirus.com and watch the free video on how you can be ready. You'll feel the fear melting away from your heart with this information, and your eyes will open to the power you have to make it through this crisis, and really, any other crisis at all. That's www.studythevirus.com and watch the free video. And remember, knowledge is power. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all, today we have this message right here from a U.S. Army commander of some type. I don't know his rank, but it says, U.S. soldiers in Europe, follow the white rabbit. We know, storm is upon us. QAnon's red pill or blue pill, your choice. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. He appears to be giving some type of a tour of the commissary, and he decides to give the announcement to the soldiers in a very conspicuous way. Let's go ahead and watch.
The tour of the commissary for now. I want to do an update to you guys in front of this giant bunny because I've never done that before. So let's start off with the numbers. Right now, we got 3 folks in quarantine. There are some positive cases up in the tri-border area. We're tracking about 8 up in the Geilenkirchen region. They're being taken care of by medical professionals. They've been put away from the rest of us so that we won't cross-contaminate one another. I sent out a link today about fresh air and sunshine. Please get out in the fresh air and the sunshine when we get that stuff. It has a curative effect.
All right, so let me stop it right there. Clearly, he chooses to do the announcement in front of a white rabbit holding a red pill and a blue pill. They're actually eggs because we've got Easter coming up. But I felt that this was a fairly conspicuous sign. Somebody sent this over to me in one of my group texts that I'm in on Twitter. That would be my friend G Money, who also sent me a couple of awesome Q hats. I'll show you guys those at the end. But thank you, G Money, for getting this in so that I can take a look at this, because it is pretty conspicuous. Obviously, we've had many references to white rabbits in the past, on the board, in the posts. Let's go ahead and take a look at another thing that Inevitable ET, or perhaps another Anon on the board, dug up the other day. Just haven't had the time to work it into the broadcasts. All right, so what we have here is the chemical structure of a particular substance that has been rumored to be harvested from live people. Not even a rumor, it's a real thing. You can actually find it. It was first documented publicly, I believe, in the film Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and in the book before that. But IET showed this off the other day, and right here, it really looks like a white rabbit when you look at it. And of course, follow the white rabbit is a popular term that people like to say after all of the white rabbits that have shown up throughout this journey. Now, he asked people to go ahead and catalog all the white rabbits found. We have that bunny that was just being spoken in front of. Of course, we have the white rabbits from the White House. There was the white rabbit on Easter when President Trump said tip-top, tippy-top shape. And that is this one right here. So there is a lot of white rabbits that are involved in this. Based upon the images and the clues that were left in posts previously, I do think that perhaps the white rabbit could be the name that they use for the children that will be used for the harvest. So let's go ahead and take a look at those posts just as a reminder. All right, so we have 3 posts here that contain the term rabbit, starting with post 2049, when they're talking about the trafficking of people. And it says HRC is Alice, Saudi Arabia was Wonderland, and who are the white rabbits? And then, of course, there is this post here talking about access closed to all of these basically playgrounds for the elite. And then if we go to post 2051, remember that Alex Podesta is a modern artist, and he has art which contains the portrayal of white rabbits being kidnapped and tortured and other things along those lines. And you can see here, this is an example of some of his art installations, multiple ones, this one being dissected on the floor while these 2 grown men sit above. And it says, pass drops important to frame context. These people need to all be eliminated. Those who know cannot sleep. Now, the idea that white rabbits represent the children and the substance that is taken from them is what they're following. We also have this one right here in reference to the rabbit hole, which was from Sharmila W., who is no longer on Twitter, at least not under this account, I believe. But here we have this connection to kinder care learning centers, taking us once again to children. So I'd like to know what you guys think about this. This is a topic that often comes up. Who are the white rabbits? I personally think that it is the children that are the victims of these crimes. Now, this right here is a theory I have seen being bandied around the internet a lot in the last week. But this is from an anon on the board, and it says the adreno produced in the Wuhan facility was infected with a special variant of the mass-released CV19. Those who took the tainted adreno will be blood tested and proven in a court of law that they were taking this stuff from the Wuhan lab. Prima facie evidence. Very, very interesting. So we talked about this last week on the program, that there was a factory in Wuhan that produced this substance, or rather maybe packaged it up for international sale to whoever wanted to buy it. But let's go ahead and take a look at some information that my friend Gaffer Anon was able to pull up. He found the actual order page on the website. All right, so here it is right here, 3B Scientific, Wuhan Corporation Limited. It says VIP promotion is on where satisfaction is provided. And here on their website, you can search for this substance right there. Shows the molecular formula and the purity at 98%. In order to purchase this, it looks like you do have to register for the website. I don't know what the conditions are in order to join so that you can go ahead and order it, but this is some pretty staggering stuff here, and this is the first time that I've seen the actual order page online. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I wanted to say thank you very much to my good friend Gaffer Anon. Now, the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, someone who has been an outspoken critic of the president and mischaracterized things that he said or the response by the administration, has issued a stay-at-home, stay-safe executive order. She is asking everyone to stay inside beginning tonight at midnight. Looks like this is going to be going through April 13th, something like that, maybe the 14th. It's not listed here, but this is what I've seen here on her Twitter. I've also gotten reports from people that live in Michigan saying that this has, in effect, gone into effect as of midnight tonight. So I don't think it's a bad idea. I do believe that we're going to be seeing a lot of things in the next couple of weeks, guys. So the more people that do stay at home and stay safe, I think that it's better for everyone. We're going to allow these people to get the job done and clean up the streets while we're all safe at home. Now, I thought this was a pretty interesting story, also sent from one of my viewers. They don't have a handle, so I'm not going to say their full name here. But President Trump made an allusion to someone being rescued the other day, and we weren't quite sure exactly what it was about. Well, it actually was an American woman who was rescued in a secretive military operation. Now, he dropped this yesterday. And it's been an unspecified military operation conducted in a certain area to rescue a female U.S. citizen who was being horribly treated. Now, there are no details. He said it's being kept somewhat private, but we got her out. She's okay, and she's back with her parents. So very, very good news, and hopefully this is just the beginning of people who will be rescued during this operation. Well, adding to the growing list of celebrities and world elites who have been diagnosed positive with this virus, Harvey Weinstein can now add his name to that list as well. Testing positive from his prison cell, as if things weren't bad enough for Harvey Weinstein already, but I'd like to say that karma is a thing that you don't want to mess with. So currently he is at the Wendy Correctional Facility in New York, and New York is currently the U.S. epicenter of the pandemic with 15,000 confirmed cases. Now, he's one of 2 inmates at the prison who tested positive. No word on how he could possibly have come down with this diagnosis, but since he has been behind bars and unable to get to his supply of much-needed medicine, I'd say that this kind of lends itself to the theory that perhaps the medicine he was taking was doped, or maybe perhaps this is the withdrawal symptoms of no longer being able to get that white rabbit. Now, we've had a couple of different bills that have passed through the House and the Senate, which are offering relief to not only the American public, but also businesses and corporations. And Senator John Kennedy here pulling no punches, giving his opinion about why this most recent bill has not been able to pass. Thank you, Methods. We're going to go ahead and take a listen to this.
You know what the American people are thinking right now, Mr. President? They're thinking that this country was founded by geniuses, but it's being run by a bunch of idiots. You know what the American people are thinking right now, Mr. President? They're thinking, why do the members of the United States Senate continue to double down on stupid?
Absolutely love Senator John Kennedy. Now, what exactly is he referring to? Well, let's go ahead and take a look, because Nervous Nancy and Cryin' Chuck have got something to do with it. So this most recent bill has been unable to pass due to some unusual earmarks being added by Dems, things that have absolutely nothing to do with the situation at hand. So Cryin' Chuck and Nervous Nancy have been trying to add fuel emission standards for airlines, more wind and solar tax credits to this latest stimulus package that has been trying to get through. Now, Senate Democrats on Sunday blocked Phase 3 of this most recent economic stimulus bill. We needed 60 votes to get this bill through. All the Democrats and independents who caucus with Dems voted no. Now, Chuck and Nancy continued to play politics on Monday amid this shutdown and demanded a wish list of socialist policies that have nothing to do with the global pandemic. First of all, they want unprecedented collective bargaining powers for unions. They also asked for increased fuel emission standards for airlines and an expansion of wind and solar tax credits. Even worse, not only are these demands totally unrelated to what's happening right now, they could prevent companies from participating in the loan programs, directly causing unnecessary layoffs, and that's all according to a GOP Senate aide. Now, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell absolutely crushed the Senate Dems before the Monday morning relief package vote took place. He slammed them for pushing to include their Green New Deal regulations inside this relief bill, which is for the pandemic, and having absolutely nothing to do with the earmarks that they're trying to push onto it. Now, they held up the legislation for the tax credits and the solar, wind, and the emission standards. It is absolute insanity. He said, "I'd like to see Senate Dems tell New York City doctors and nurses who are literally overrun as we speak that they are filibustering hospital funding and more masks because they want to argue with the airlines over their carbon footprint." We are this close to getting that bill pushed through, and it's absolutely essential. And the longer that Dems continue to hold this up, the more likely it is that American lives are going to suffer in more ways than one. Now, Where's Joe Biden was trending over the weekend on Twitter because he had completely disappeared from public view. He can't really say anything right now because any positive press that he gives to the president is going to make him look bad. He can't decry any of the president's policies because arguably they're working. But he has decided to start doing some type of public addresses directly from his home because he can't really leave because he's in that category of people who are at high risk due to age and complicating conditions that he has. So after getting his house rigged up with lighting and camera equipment, he has decided to hold what are, kind of counter briefings to what the president is doing, giving his own information from the comfort of his home, needing to practice social distancing, which is good for anybody at this moment in time. But he didn't do so well on his first address today. He stumbled, he lost his train of thought, and then it looked like his teleprompter went down, so he had no idea where to go after that. Then he had to signal his staff for help. So this is something that I think we need to see. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Activate the reserve corps of doctors and nurses and beef up the number of responders dealing with these crush of cases. And in addition to that, we have to make sure that we are in a.
All right, jumbling, losing his train of thought, clearly signaling to his handlers that the teleprompter's not working. Joe, just throw in the towel, man. Throw in the towel. This is bad for you. This is bad for your family. But I do arguably think that it's good for the American public because they need to see the kind of people and the quality of politicians that the Dems are trying to place on the national stage. Is this the guy that you want leading the charge during a crisis such as this? I think not. So Dr. Fauci is the current leader of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases at the NIH since 1984, is part of the CV-19 task force that President Trump put together back in January. Now, he was captured on film failing to suppress laughter when President Trump had a very meme-worthy moment. Let's go ahead and take a look at that.
I was extremely busy, so if you have any question for him right now, could you do that? Because you know what I'd like to do? I'd like him to go back to the State Department, or as they call it, the Deep State Department, if you don't mind. I'd like to have him go back and do his job. So does anybody have any question? Please. Yeah, how about
Now, personally, I thought that was a pretty funny moment. I don't fault Dr. Fauci for giving a little giggle when President Trump called it the Deep State Department, because let's be honest, that's what it is. But then on Sunday, he gave a telephone interview published by Science Mag where he undermined the president and presented himself as the smartest guy in the room. Now, many people are very upset and anxious about the presence of Dr. Fauci on this CV task force, but I say that President Trump is using the remnants of the deep state now and in the past in the way that he best needs to. He chews them up and he spits them out. He gets rid of them when he no longer finds it advantageous to use them. So just because Dr. Fauci is present on this task force in no way signals that President Trump has somehow lost, that the Patriots are no longer in control. I definitely take issue with anybody who's saying that. I just don't believe it, and I don't think that you should believe it either. No matter how good a researcher is, I think that people can allow their biases to get in the way. And I ask you to look at the history of this administration and the history of President Trump and take a look at how he's handled people like Dr. Fauci in the past. Once they're no longer necessary, they're gone. Think Russ Tillerson. Now, so the questions that he's asked have to do with, his views versus the president's views. He says that the president listens by and large, even though they do disagree on some things. And then this question is asked right here. What about the travel restrictions? President Trump keeps saying that the travel ban on China, which began on February 2nd, had a big impact on slowing the spread of this pandemic, and he wishes China would have told us 3 to 4 months earlier, and that they were very secretive, which is very true. Now, China did not immediately reveal the discovery of this thing right now until late December, but by January 10th, Chinese researchers made the sequence of the virus public. It just doesn't comport with the facts. That is a lie. So he goes on to say that President Trump's statement that China should have told us earlier does not comport with the facts. However, I think that the president is signaling to the fact that this has been around for a lot longer than we were previously told. Now, he says if the president was told several months earlier, that would put us in September or October. And I just like to say that that lines up with the idea that this initially started spreading at those Wuhan World Army Games. He also says that he would never call it the China virus, although that is where it originated. And then he says that he has no comment in regards to President Trump's statement about the deep state department. Now, Dr. Fauci's level of respect for the president is clearly quite low on the totem pole. He thinks he's smarter than the president, but I do believe that the president pays attention to things like this. President Trump knows exactly what these deep staters have to think about him before he gets them involved with whatever it is that's happening on the national scale here. So I just like to say that I don't think that Dr. Fauci is going to be around for very long. I don't think that Dr. Fauci is controlling the narrative or he's going to control the policy of the United States. President Trump is going to have him there by his side as long as necessary, and then we're going to say bye-bye to Dr. Fauci. Now, lastly, this is an op-ed from the Washington Post sent over by Mike Bravo on Twitter. And it's written by a man, an economist, and the president of an institute named Michael Hudson. He titles it, "A Debt Jubilee is the Only Way to Avoid a Depression." Now, I thought this was pretty interesting because we've had a lot of reports about people saying that their credit card debt had been wiped away, that their student loans were no longer there. And basically, he lays out the idea for a debt jubilee, which would completely wipe away student loans, auto loans, credit cards, and other payments. And that by doing this, by giving everybody a clean slate, we can avoid economic depression. Now, with the current pandemic that's happening right now, I know a lot of people are very anxious about what they're going to do with their bills. How are they going to go ahead and continue to pay? I've often said there's no way that they're going to go ahead and foreclose on, better than half the country, or they're going to be able to kick everybody out of their homes, or they're going to turn off everybody's power. It just might go on long enough that something like a debt jubilee will have to be taken into account. If they wiped the slate clean for everybody and everybody had their debt completely erased, we would all start from the exact same point, and that extra money that you may have been holding on to, which you were using to pay off your credit cards or your student loans, you could put it towards other things, making the economy of America stronger than it's ever been before. Now, this is a pretty compelling article, and I'm definitely going to be leaving it in the pinned comment below, and I suggest you guys go ahead and take a look at it. It talks about the history of debt jubilees, going back to the Bible, and some other times in history when it was necessary for it to be used. But I really think that this could help out America, and I'd like to know what you guys think as well. All right, guys, I think that's all that I have for you today. Now it's time for that special announcement. Now that we are all going to be shut up in our homes for at least a couple of weeks, my good friend Methods and I are going to start doing a special live stream Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can tune in at 2 p.m. to see Methods and I talking about whatever's happening in the news. We're going to be talking with you guys, and we want your opinion on how things are going. So please do make sure you tune in every weekday at 2 p.m. and then still at 6 p.m. for my daily videos if that's not something you're interested in. All right, guys, once again, thank you to everybody who has subscribed to me in recent weeks. Thank you to the winners, and don't forget to email me, redpill78@protonmail.com. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, one more thing. It's Red Pill. I just want to say thank you once again to everybody that has helped to support the channel. If you'd like to get involved, you can go ahead and check the show notes in the pinned comment and the description. There's always good information in there. I've got a couple of backup channels. I ask that you go ahead and subscribe to them because if anything does happen here, I will start publishing there. And if you want things like merchandise or anything else, there is a bunch of information that you can find right below this video. All right, guys, thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.